Welcome and thank you for joining us. This is the newsroom from Robinson Restoration and Service. We are continuing our series, our segment of series, on our interview with Tracey Robinson, the man behind the name, the man behind this company, which is so much larger, so much more efficient, and so much more sophisticated than you would ever guess. With that, I got to get into the auction topic. I realize that's pulling the lid off a very big barrel of fish. But everyone talks about them. They get a lot of TV exposure now, to the point that we actually learn the cycles that the cheapest cars are on Friday or Thursday, and they get progressed by Saturday night. That's the big money coming out.
Absolutely.
You can see it at airports. The big money brings our private planes in and lands them in the executive parking areas for airplanes. But that whole game has become so much more sophisticated.
125, 50, go 50, $150,000, 175, $150, 150, $150, 175, big brother, $150, 175, 200,000, 225, $150, 250, $150, bid, $175 out there, $150, 50, 75, $150, internet, you're out to get 250, 275 in the water, 250 spin, 275, $150, 250, 275, you want to get $260,000, I get 250, $260,000 bid, 250 spin, 260, I get 250, 60, I get 250 pound on a bid, 150 60, I never get 60, 70, I never get 70, I never get time there, George, I never get 270, 80, 80, I never get 280, I never get 270 bid, now 80, now 80, now 80 bid, I never get 270, 80, I get 270 pound on a bid, 180, anybody else at 280 pound on a bid, 270, 280,000, I get 270, I never get 280 pound on a bid, 270 pound on a bid, now 80 I have. Close to bid at $270,000. We're a long ways from the house, George.
Good news, and it's bad news, because we see a lot of beginners get roped with the whole auction scene today.
Well, I think what I've learned on the auction scene is it's a great place to sell the car, horrible place to buy it.
Boy, that's an interesting statement.
Okay, you got to remember, you're willing, if you end up winning the bid on that car, you are willing to pay more than anybody in the room for that piece of equipment.
Wow.
Think about that. You're in an audience of 500 people and you're willing to pay more than all of those people on that particular car. Keep that in mind. So if you think there's any meat left on the bone, you got another thing coming.
So what are you saying? Buy a car you really want?
Buy a car you really want. Don't go to the auction thinking you're going to buy it for one price and flip it for another. That's very rare
I agree.
in today's world. Do your homework. Do your homework before you get to the auction. Know exactly what it is that you're after and do as much homework on that car as you can. Because when it's set up there for you to look at it, you to inspect it before it goes across the block, that's your time to determine, is this really what it appears to be? And is it really what I want?
That word inspection doesn't mean everything you would hope it would mean.
Absolutely.
That car's on the ground, you ain't jacking it up,
No.
And there's cars right next to it, behind it, in front of it. You really don't get to take the look.
You don't, and you're taking a risk. That's just the long and the short of it. How much are you willing to risk when these cars are $50, $60, $70, $100,000?
Witnessed that recently in a car from, like my prom date, looked great from 30 feet.
You did.
That was a very pretty car. I said, wow, that would be neat to have.
Well, there's a couple of reasons that a car will go through the auction. You got to ask yourself, why is that particular car going through the auction? Now, one of them is to get rid of it. Let somebody else take over those issues, okay? The other reason, it could be, it's just time to go. I don't want to bother with trying to sell it, retail it. I'm just ready to let go. Those are good cars. Good cars can be bought at the auction. You just need to do your homework, know what you're looking at. If you don't, take somebody with you.
Who knows?
Okay.
If we were looking at a Porsche 914, I know where to look for the rust.
Exactly.
But I don't know that on a Charger or a Mustang or a GTO. I don't know.
I mean,
that.
it's not just the rust. It's not just the damage. It's the serial numbers.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
as
No.
the car's being, whatever it's being promoted as, you need to determine, is that exactly what you're getting? So you need some knowledge with you to be able to make that
See,
determination.
the assumption is the auction house already did all that homework, and
Well, sure it is, but the auction house is not held responsible for that. That information is divulged to them from the owner. When you pin them down, they're not liable for anything. If the car is misrepresented, it's not their fault. That came from the consignor.
all right, I'm going to reveal the rest of the details on the car that I fell in love with. Was that a 69 Corvette?
69 Corvette Stingray.
69 Corvette, gorgeous colors,
Yes.
beautiful interior. It was a horror story
Underneath?
when it went up on that hoist.
Absolutely.
Shocking.
The frame was rusted out. The bird cage was
In a
rusted
lot
out.
of places,
Yes.
critical places,
Yes.
not just inconvenient or expensive places.
Correct.
Horrifying.
Very expensive fix. It doesn't make sense to do it at that point. When you factor in what he paid for the car when he bought it at the auction, and now he's looking at close to $100,000 worth of restoration.
All right, but
repair.
see, this is where your credibility comes in, and I'm just going to applaud you on this. That customer would have paid you to fix that car, and
It's a
you
good chance
recommended
I
against it.
recommended against it. I said, look, let's find you a better car.
Yeah.
This one is too far gone. It's going to cost way too much money, and at the end of this, none of us are going to be happy. It's just not a good deal.
How often does that happen to you, where you just have to say, "Look, I can't, with a clear conscience, tell you to continue to move forward"?
You know, it happens a fair amount of the time. I would say 20-25% of the time that I get a car in here for a major full overhaul. We had that discussion and determine if the car's really valid to go through with it, or should we just help you find a better car.
We appreciate your time and patience. That's a wrap for this one, ladies and gentlemen. We wish you open roads and safe motoring.